morning. Welcome to the Breakfast Rundown on TV1. I'm Therunee Karunaratne, and as always, we're coming to you live from our Newsfirst studios here in Colombo. This morning's bulletin, we will be starting off with a headline-making international news story. Let's dive right in. US President Donald Trump told President Volodymyr Zelensky yesterday that the United States would help guarantee Ukraine's security in any deal to end Russia's war there, though the extent of any assistance was not immediately clear. Now, Trump made the pledge during an extraordinary summit at the White House, where he hosted Zelensky and a group of European allies days after Trump met with Russian President Vladimir Putin in Alaska. Let's take a look at what President Trump had to say.
I think if everything works out well today, we'll have a trilat. And I think there will be a reasonable chance of ending the war when we do that. It's never the end of the road. People are being killed, and we want to stop that. So I would not say it's the end of the road. No, I think we have a good chance of doing it. It's been almost 4 years now that a lot of people were killed last week. A lot of people last week. I mean, millions of people killed, but a lot of people last week for whatever reason. A big number, a lot of soldiers, on both sides. And I know the president, I know myself, and I believe Vladimir Putin wants to see it end. This isn't my war, this is Joe Biden's war. He's the one that had a lot to do with this happening, and we want to get it ended. And we want it to end good for everybody. We want it to end good. The people of Ukraine have suffered incredibly.
The US president said he had a good meeting with the leaders and that he discussed security guarantees for Ukraine with the leaders from the EU, Finland, France, Germany, Italy, NATO, Ukraine and the United Kingdom. Trump confirmed that these would be provided by the various European countries with a coordination with the United States. He also said he called Russian President Vladimir Putin and began arrangements for a meeting between the Russian president and Zelensky, as well as a trilateral meeting between the three men. Now, the Kremlin confirmed that Trump spoke with Putin over the phone for about 40 minutes in the middle of his talks with Zelensky and the European leaders at the White House. However, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said that Russia proposed a bilateral meeting with Ukraine, followed by a trilateral meeting. In a news conference following his meetings with the US President Donald Trump at the White House, Zelensky said he is ready for any format of a meeting with Putin. He said that he would participate in the following trilateral meeting, depending on how the first meeting goes. Zelensky said, and I quote, "I believe unconditionally we should meet and think about the further development of this path to end the war." Well, meanwhile, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said that the discussion with US President Donald Trump and European leaders at the White House on Monday included plans for Ukraine to purchase $90 billion in American weapons through European funding as part of the country's security guarantees. He said that another part of the guarantees would involve Ukraine manufacturing drones, some of which would be purchased by the United States. Zelensky noted that this remains under discussion and that no formal agreement has been reached. He said that the agreement will be formalized over the next week or 10 days. Let's take a look at what President Zelensky had to say.
First of all, we have possibility now to buy weapons from the United States. We are thankful for this program and this opportunity. We are thankful for Europe. They pay for this. And through NATO program, for example, Pearl and etc., we have some programs where we can have some money to finance this. And this is a part, I think, it's not a part for the war and to defend us. It also will be a part for security guarantees, to strengthen our army, to rearm Ukrainian army. This is very, very important. And it depends how much money we need to rearm. For example, the question of air defense, we spoke about it with President Trump, and I'm happy that we have now bilateral decisions and we work on it with production, American production. Nobody in Europe has so many air defense like Patriots, for example. We need it very much, and this is also about defending.
Let's move on to another international news item this morning. Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi, who arrived in India on a two-day official visit, met with Indian External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar in New Delhi. During the meeting, Minister Wang Yi emphasized that the differences between China and India should not turn into confrontations. He highlighted the importance of fostering a constructive relationship between neighboring countries as well. Indian External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar, meanwhile, stressed that positive progress in India-China relations can only be achieved if peace is maintained along the border areas of both the countries. According to international media reports, Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi is also scheduled to meet with Indian National Security Advisor Ajit Doval for discussions related to these border issues. He is also expected to meet with Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi later this evening. This visit by the Chinese Foreign Minister marks his first trip to India in nearly 3 years, adding further significance to the diplomatic engagement. Well, let's move on to news here at home for today. The strike launched by postal trade unions continues for a second consecutive day today. Postmaster General Ruan Satkumara stated that a significant backlog of mail has been observed mainly at the Central Mail Exchange in Colombo due to the ongoing strike. Postal trade unions have affirmed their decision to continue the strike without interruption. Now, the strike, which began at midnight on Sunday, was launched based on 19 key demands. These include the payment of overtime allowances and opposition to the use of biometric fingerprint systems for recording staff attendance as well as departure. The Postal and Telecommunication Officers Association, along with the Joint Front of Postal Trade Unions, withdrew from duties and began their trade union action on Sunday at 4 p.m. Following that, all postal offices across the island commenced the strike from midnight. Now, a total of 23 trade unions have joined the strike, including the United National Postal Employees Union, Sri Lanka Independent Postal and Telecommunication Public Service Union, United Postal and Telecommunication Officers Union, Sri Lanka Independent Postal Services Union, and the Sri Lanka Postal Workers Front. However, the National Postal Services Union has not supported the ongoing strike action. According to reports, approximately 18,000 employees from 653 post offices and 70 administrative offices across the country are currently engaged in this strike. Convener of the Joint Postal Trade Union Alliance, Chintaka Bandara, stated that the strike will continue until a satisfactory solution is provided for their concerns. Trade unions also point out that they resorted to this strike following the cancellation of leave for all postal workers. Postmaster General Ruan Satkumara has requested the unions to call off their trade union action and to return for discussions to resolve this matter. Now, the Parliament is scheduled to convene today at 9:30 a.m. under the leadership of Speaker Dr. Jagat Vikramaratne. Several important regulations and legislative amendments are set to be presented for approval during today's session. Among them are the amended regulations under the Foreign Exchange Act. According to Deputy Minister of Economic Development, Dr. Anil Chayantha Fernando, the revisions aim to enhance foreign exchange flexibility for companies, boosting their financial capacity. Currently, companies listed on the stock exchange are allowed to access up to $500,000 in foreign exchange. Under the proposed amendments, this limit will be increased to $750,000. For unlisted companies, the existing limit of $150,000 will be raised to $200,000. Dr. Anil Chayantha Fernando noted that the decision was made to facilitate business expansion and economic development. Meanwhile, the amended regulations under the Public Debt Management Act are also scheduled to be presented to Parliament for approval. In addition, the revised Gambling Regulatory Authority Bill will be submitted for parliamentary approval today. The bill seeks to establish a dedicated authority to regulate gambling activities in Sri Lanka. The draft bill received approval from the Cabinet Committee on Public Finance in a previous session. Now, in celebration of the annual Nallur Kandaswamy festival, the special Newsfirst zone established at the Nallur Sivaguru Adinam will be officially launched today. The zone features a variety of cultural elements reflecting the rich traditions associated with the Nallur festival. As part of the day's activities, Vibhuti, brought after receiving blessings from several temples across the island, will also be distributed to devotees participating in this event. And finally, onto your weather forecast for today. The Met Department says that a few showers will occur in the western and Sabaragamo provinces and in the Kandy, Nuwara Eliya, Galle and Mathura districts. Mainly, fair weather will prevail over elsewhere of the island. Fairly strong winds of about 30 to 40 kilometers per hour can be expected at times over the western slopes of the central hills and in the northern, north central and northwestern provinces and in the Trincomalee and Hambantota districts. Coming up next is your sports news for this morning. And in sports, it's tennis. Iga Swiatek captured her first Cincinnati Open title on Monday by beating Jasmine Paolini 7-5, 6-4, with the pole third seed sending a powerful message ahead of the US Open. The six-time Grand Slam winner did not drop a set on her way to the title and was clinical in the final, converting all six of her break points to secure her 11th WTA 1000 crown and the first since last year's Italian Open. The win also ensures Wimbledon champion Swiatek will climb back to world number 2, securing the second seed for the final major of the year at Flushing Meadows, where singles action begins on Sunday. Let's take a look at some of the highlights from the final. Well, earlier in the day, Spain's Carlos Alcaraz claimed the men's title after top seed Yannick Sinner retired in the first set as well. Well, that brings to a close this morning's edition of the Breakfast Rundown on TV1. I'm Therunee Karunaratne. Thank you for joining us today. Do join us tomorrow as well for more of the very latest from here at home and around the world. Take care. Have a wonderful day ahead.